Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadanandatirtha Bhagavatpadacharyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Sthititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Vipritam Adiprabhudan Vadan Rasyakatavan Bhuvidatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Anandatirthamunimem Namami पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Welcome, friends. We are again on to the Kathopanishad journey. In between last 2 weeks, we couldn't have, because of so many other things that has happened in between. Therefore, now we are continuing with our journey. As we continue with the journey, just we will try to recap as to where we have come in now. Initially, we come to know about the entire Kathopanishad, the background of it, the story of Nachiketa. And he has gone to the highest person, who can give the knowledge of entire, the what is life after the death, because he is the god of death, Yama. When we have talked about it in the first part of the Kathopanishad, in the first chapter, we just came to know about how young innocent mind, who was just trying to observe himself and to know from the world, as it is, and who was in the sense, he was observing and learning, and that is called pratyaksha, the experience by which we learn. The pratyaksha is one of the major concepts, in the Indian philosophical literature and in the scriptures. In no other sort of a philosophy, it has been given so much of a primary importance as we have. The pratyaksha, the anubhava, the experience, what we experience is more important in understanding the philosophical purport behind the existence of the life and awareness of the life, and to know about the life and to live the life, the glory, to have finally to have the glorious vision of the life. That is what this entire Upanishad has taken from there. Knowing from there, because we have know the story of the Nachiketa, we have already seen, and he literally, because prana jaye par vachan na jaye, as father has said, because get lost, he really got lost from this universe, leaving his body and goes to the Yama, and then when he waits for 3 days, when Yama was busy with his, because the duties assigned to him, because as a sort of the devata for the entire world, who is looking after the entire the account of the world, because the incoming and outgoing, because the managing the entire the populace of the world, when he is seeing, and because he was waiting and he got so sort of perturbed, because he should not. He never allowed anyone to wait for him, because he used to entertain him. Because that Atiti Devo Bhava, what we say is, when there is a guest in the house, he has to be entertained and looked after. That is the primary importance. Rest of it comes later only. And when we see Atiti, it is like a Vaishvanara. It is something in the universal force, the universal power that sends you some message to you and sends you some intuition, some sort of it gives you the vibration, which if you are not able to get it, that's going to be a phenomenal loss. Having considered to be the Vaishvanara in the form of Atiti, because he says, I have made you to wait for 3 days, because you asked me 3 boons. So when, the soul of Nachiketa, which has reached there, and he says, because I want to have only 3 simple vows, because my father asked me to get lost, I will have to get back to my father as a loving son. And I should have back my life, because from a loving father and a loving son, I should be able to live. He said, granted. And the next thing is, and he wanted to ask was, I want to know about these Vaishvanara Yajna, because which is called Vaishvanara Agni, because the one, which is being performed by the entire, the great sages and rishis, who has transcended, who has evolved themselves and who have attained the highest thought of the human life. Our purpose is to become the full-fledged human, not half human, at 1/4 human, at 3/4 human, and little human here and there and all, because we are not the human beings per se. in plenipotentiary in full terms. We are not the human beings in plenitude. We don't have all the qualities of what a human being is supposed to have. Having come into this world, we have not acquired those qualities. It has not become innate part of us. And we are still trying to evolve. Therefore, finally to evolve to be an utmost human being is one of the greatest qualities, that Vaishvanara Agni, what we call is the one where you are able to live up to your own words, deeds, and thoughts. That is called Satchit Ananda. When we say, that is what he says. In terms, though it is being referred to as Vaishvanara Agni, in terms of, whatever services you are doing, to the fellow beings, as well as the entire nature, as well as to the whole world, in the form of your own service, selfless service. So when you get into that mode only, it is the highest evolution of the human being. Is asked Vaishvanaragya. And when he tries to give him, because the procedural aspects of the Vaishvanaragya, as it was done in those days, that is the way one has to acquire the knowledge in those days. Because when you are doing all those things, your mindfulness into doing those things will take away from the selfishness. As you concentrate in the skill of doing it, because it has got the enormous discipline. Once you are able to follow the discipline, you get into the mode, you excel in everything what you are doing. And the selfishness goes off and ego is being taken out. You become a very free bird, your potential is being fully released. And finally, with the full potential and when mindfulness, when you are able to perform and you attain the highest form of knowledge which you are supposed to be getting with this human form. Having acquired the human form, the highest evolutionary process in the entire world, in the mankind is supposed to be the highest evolved creature. If one has to evolve, because from a small cell to the highest form, this is the highest form, not dinosaurs or anything like that, because they all have got, but they don't have the sixth aspect. They don't have the mind. The mind, in the sense, because they are all being rather, controlled by their own, the whatever activities of the brain. They don't have something called the mind, and the mind is being given to the highest evolved human being. It is disembodied. It is not part of your body. You may have a brain, but it is the mind that is that is culminating into your personality, culminating into whatever you are doing in this world, your achievements, your sorrows, your happiness, everything is being finally Manaeva Manushyanam Bandhamosha Karanam. So therefore, the mind is the most important thing. So to finally to get evolved into the highest form of the human being is the utmost goal of a life. So that once he has been taught, once it has been taught to him, in the disciplinary way, in which, one has to do in those days, because he got so enamored, his grasping is so fantastic, and he was able to get every nook and corner of every aspect of it. And finally, he names the entire process as, instead of Vaishvanaragni, he said Nachiketa. He was so enamored of him that if there is someone who has to acquire the knowledge and evolve, and finally he has to be the role model. Therefore, we are following the role model of Nachiketa in the Kathopanishad, the young infant who is trying to teach, because the people who have grown and we have lived in this world for more than 7 decades, 8 decades, and all of us have to learn from him. He is going to be the final role model. In fact, not only to us, the entire humanity is the role model. Having come to that, because having got those things, and finally he asks the last question: what is life after death? The life after death is, because finally when you leave the body, what happens to that? How it is being taken? What happens to that? Because who is under whose control it is there? And how, is there any further evolution in that? He is asking that question. This is the question all the philosophies have tried to attempt. And to find an answer, they are trying to give their own delineation of what it could be, what it is, and then they are trying to preach their religion and they proselytize. But we don't have anything to do like that, because of ours is called the Sanatana. In a sense, it is from time immemorial. It has never been, it doesn't have a beginning or it doesn't have an end. It is a continuous process. So when when this is the one finally he wants to attain, understand this truth. This truth has been very, very difficult to understand and explain by anyone, because even if someone explains, to understand and take it, and because it is not something simply understanding with the logical analysis, it is something understanding with one's experience, one's way of living, as well as one's way of exemplifying every thought, every word, and every action. That is what we call Satchit Ananda, Anantam Brahma. That's what we call. Finally, when you get it, you get into those qualities of the highest qualities, what you have been assigned, what you have been offered, once you have, what have been, you are endowed, to get it. It's our birthright. To get that, we will have to work on this world. This is what has been explained in the first chapter. Then it was explaining, when you are living in the world, you've got choices. Either you can enjoy every part of the every action of the world, every offering of the world, and or you can also try to find what is good for you. You will be able, you should be able to discriminate and go by what it is good for you. Good for you in the sense when you are able to be high, attain the highest potential, selflessly working on the services, as well as bringing excellence into every aspect of your living in this world. This has been brought about in the second chapter of the first part. The third part, because then it was giving about the sadhanas, various sadhanas, how to get them, because not only see, we all exercise the choices, but when we exercise the choices, because we think, because by exercising the choice, the life will be all a bed of roses, because it's all honey and butter and we'll be living. But do we take the responsibility for our choices? That is more important. To take, when you are exercising the choice, it is not simply exercising the choice in a question paper or an answer. It is like exercising your thought and action and word, everything totally committed. Surrender. What we call surrender is to your own highest form of thoughts and highest form of words and highest form of action. It is some sort of a manual by which you are going to live in this world. Once you are taken, then that is how to live, because that has been explained in the third part of the third chapter of the first part of the Kathopanishad. It said it gave sadhana. As it gave to sadhana, because then finally the last verse of towards the end of the third chapter, that is the very famous, the words of the Kathopanishad, which has been taken by Swami Vivekananda to sort of a clarion call to the entire humanity. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. What is that? Uttishta, Jagrata, Varan Nibotita, Surashya Dwara, because life is like, on the razor's edge. Surashya Dwara, because when you are going, then you should be able to, once you exercise the choice properly, and once you are exercising the right choice, you can cut, or either you will be able to walk without any sort of effort, onto this racer's edge. The life is a racer's edge. In fact, this provoked Somerset Maugham to write a book on racer's edge. I think it's wonderful, if you can try to get this book and read, because the concepts of this entire mantra has been brought out so beautifully in the form of a story. And then, of course, because this is one of the inspiration by which, because he could write the story also. And these words of Swami Vivekananda, he brought it, because finally he thought this could be the clarion call to the entire humanity. Arise. Why arise? Are we not awake? We are all awake and we are all discussing, because we may be awake, but we are not fully conscious of what we are doing, what we are thinking, what we are saying, and what we are doing. There is no sort of a sync between any of these things, because now we are still sleeping. But once we come out, when we commit ourselves, once we consciously, get into the mode of service, service to ourselves, service to humanity, service to the world at large, when it comes to that, arise, awake, because one who may be awake, need not necessarily be awake. One who pretends to be awake, he cannot be woken up at all, because that is why awake. Arise, then awake, be in the state of this understanding, and continuously, Varan Nibodhita, stop not till the goal is reached. Till such time you evolve into in which you are able to think so highly, and so you are able to act so perfectly. And when you are able to do everything, because that itself is a glory, you will be a reflection of your own happiness, for which it is a birthright to you. You have been brought into this world, but are you doing it? This is exactly what the third chapter of the first of the part of the Kathopanishad said, and we came into the second part. Second part, it also because gave because various, when you are doing this, what are all the pitfalls you should avoid. How it was trying to give a delineation of the highest power, which is supposed to be the God, the delineation of the God. It gave God, with a lot of paradoxes, perplexing paradoxes. Finally, they brought it into, yeah, sort of a dexterous delineation of the Almighty or a God, as you might be able to visualize, as you may be able to understand, as you will be able to absorb into your thoughts, action, and words. That is what finally required. It's not that something external, it is internal, because our philosophy says, our Upanishad says, our Veda says, in everyone there is a God is residing, irrespective of the fact, the country, creed, religion, race, and all. Everyone is sort of having their internal power in them, and he is residing in everyone. So once it is being residing, each one of us is like a temple. If we could be worthy of the temple in which God can reside, then we are worthy of highest human being to live in this world. That has been brought about, because in this, the second part of the Kathopanishad, and the second part of the Kathopanishad also, try to bring about, because how, because when it is being said, some people may not be still be questioning, because where is that power, how this power, and why should I behave like this, and all those things have been totally, because one by one they cut off, because with the similes and explanations, as well as to bring about, because it is for your own benefit. And finally we have come to this, the third chapter of the second part. They have also explained to us, how it is, because when you come into this world, if you are not able to achieve, what is that going to happen. What we have seen last week, the precious human birth, having highly evolved, the creature, as we have discussed, having come to that, then, because then we have seen this particular verse which said, Higachet Ashakat Bodhum. So if you are not going to succeed in realizing the highest potential of yours, your highest thoughts, because that is finally the Godhood. What you are thinking, the quality of the God, will be reflected only in terms of your thoughts, your words, and actions. Once you are able to ihachet ashakat buddhum, because if you are not able to, succeed, ashakat, if you are not able to succeed in doing it, prag sharirasya visrasaha. Shasaha is, the falling. Vishrasaha is the highest to fall. It's not a falling from the couch or falling from the chair, or it is befalling, from the entire body. The entire body befalls. As Nachiketa has asked, when he has, when he's asked, father asked him to get lost, he left his body and go. The Vishrasaha, when you are leaving this world, when it goes to that, before, if you are not able to understand, if you are not able to assimilate, if you are not able to internalize, when you are not able to live a life with your thoughts, words, and actions, because are coming into the highest form in which, they are in sync, and you are able to do the as much great deeds as you are capable of, you're having realized the potential, then that is what it, and then it will be, that will be the highest. Tata Sargeshu Lokeshu, then in the worlds of created things. The sense, because there could be, because then you could have got the redemption, because when there is a birthless stage, no birth, no death stage, you'll be, once you have got this highest form of the Godhood, the qualities in you, you don't have to come again to this world and undergo, all this process. But having come into this world and having got this form and name, why don't you get it done right now? It is not tomorrow, right now, having here. There is no other now. Be here, and right now you do it and try to attain it. This is the greatest opportunity. Don't miss it. That is what Upanishad says. Tava sargeshu lokeshu sariratvaya kalpate. See, in the sense, because when the form, this there, you try to do this. This is the greatest opportunity. And you can't be sure, whether you will certainly going to have a permanent birth or not. It could be anything based on the actions, that you have committed, because you are the decider of your own birth, what form you are going to born in, because it is your own actions that determine. So once you have realized, once you are able to live like this, because arise, awake, uttishta, jagrata, vara, nimbodhita, because you are able to shurasya dwara, you have walked through these races edge of the life, and finally you come to the birth. That is the higher side. It can't be do in this particular birth. So then, having said that, because what is that, because what we having that, because supposing, because if they have given the warning, because then what are all the consequences are also they are trying to tell us. Consequences in the sense, we may not be considered about the consequences. I am make consequences. What is the consequences? I am able to eat. I am able to have a house. I am able to move around. I've got a family, friends. I've got admirers, and I've got this wealth, health, and all. And I don't have to bother. And okay, because that is your choice. You take the responsibility of the choice. If that is going to be the case, you be all and all with it. Don't go for because then finally you go for a name. I should be known. I should be this. I should be that. What is that? Because by being that, because how long you will be able to do that? And if you are doing, someone else has done better than you. Then finally, because what is that final understanding, final sort of a highest form of happiness, highest form of evolution of human being, when you are able to look inward, adhyatma, when you are able to look into and finally get into this ultimate bliss, where you are able to all these things, your thoughts, words, and actions come effortlessly from you. They are all in sync. You don't have to take any deliberate effort. That is the highest form of. Why don't you do that? That's what it. So that happens, because what happens, we have seen, because I was also attending a lot of, because the seminars meets, and then I also had the opportunity to attend with my daughter, because the dementia, patients and how the care has to be taken. There is a conference on that. When you see, because what is dementia? Because the same, because we have got, because all the memories, because the controllers, because we are into the past or into the future. And basically, because how the memories are stored based on our experiences, the processed experiences, whatever, we consider it to be, because very pleasurable and delightful experiences, they all get stored. And even the ones, which you think, you have always been unwanted experience, you have suffered and you have been, injustice has been done to you, those also are also stored. And then, you always try to, because of both of them, because they go on flashing, because whenever something you are trying to do in the waking world, they guide us, towards, because all your experiences come to the fore and they condition your thoughts. When we say that thoughts have to be free from, all those contaminations, because when you are able to have some unconditioned thought without conditions of your past experiences, as well as, because of the, be it happy or otherwise, and as well as the future expectations, that is the thought which will give you the clarity of what you are going to do. If not only that, your own experiences, someone else's experiences, you would have been, because so much fond of, because so much liking, you might have taken him as a sort of your role model, and that also will come into fore and trying to condition your thoughts. Not necessary, it should be bad or good and all, because that is what will happen. So in this process, what happens, when you are always being, because going forth and front and forth, because between the past experience and the future one, and the expectations, and as well as, the various conditions in which it have happened, the mode of happiness or mode of sorrow, or all these things and all, you will always be having some sort of a cluttered idea about it, whether it's because the self-doubt will be there. Whether what am I doing? Is it going to be worthwhile? Or will I be able to do it, because successfully, and all those self-doubt will come. They will come, and they will cloud, your ability to take action. That is why, they said, because we should not be doing all that. So as we will be seeing, because there was also experience, why, because the dementia takes place in that. The dementia takes place, because your past has taken and it has taken all the synaptic connections of your brain. The present doesn't have any place for you to take it and process it. Why it happens, because so many things, because and if I had experience of talking to a person with the dementia, they are able to link up, as to what has happened 50 years before, 40 years before, how they as a child, because they had to accompany their parents and what happened to them, how single-handedly mother or someone and how they brought them up. And even in the day it happened, including, because what little, money they could afford, because how someone has helped and how finally they have come about. They remember all those things. And they have also accomplished a lot in the life. They have also become, because the highest professors, and because they have all achieved the highest, the position, power, everything and all. But present one, because something is not coming into their mind. They are not able to remember, because it's yesterday what happened and today, what is to be done. Or, because even the present one, they totally, because they are in different thing, they are in sort of living in a different world. A person who has retired 20 years before, he thinks today is the last day of his office. He has to still go to the office. In the mid of the night, he thinks, no, I will have to prepare for myself and go to the office. Why this happens? No, is it that, because something that is physiological changes or that has taken place? Because every minute, because there are so many millions of cells are dying and they are being recreated. Because the metabolism that takes place. But unfortunately, in their case, because the brain cells, dead brain cells, they don't get regenerated, to carry the current time, current thoughts and actions. Upaspriti, what we call it. This happens, mainly because, why it is happening, because thought comes out of the perception comes out of, because the basic subconscious mind in which we have stored everything. The subconscious, unless we are able to manage, because that if it is going to have a sort of a bundle of, it's going to have all the clutters and cobwebs are going to be accumulated, you will not be able to do much, with you will not be able to do much with, because all these things. But once you are able to clear the clutter, cobwebs, and you are able to see what best, we can do that and all. That is fair, because this will happen. But how it is to be done and all? It is like as Buddha has said, because every day we are cleaning the house. Every day, because of course, we are taking bath, because so that, we make ourselves clean. Maybe, some of us, who are in the sort of a hot locations, we take twice a bath and all, we make ourselves clean. And we take wash and we change the clothes, we wash the clothes, we do everything and all. Because why? Because all those clutter has to go off, and because you have to come fresh and see. Likewise, mind is also so many accumulations have to be cleared. To clear that what happened, that is why, the meditation is being suggested. That is, our scripture suggests Shravana, Manana, Nitithyasana. Shravana in the sense what you are having, because Manana is just reflecting, because continuous reflection, that is regurgitating, trying to understand. If you see one book, read once, you will have a meaning, because at that point of time, depending upon the age, your conditions, your state, and your mind, and the attitude, and all. Same book you read after 10 years, it will give a different meaning. Like Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, you recite, as a young child, you have been told, we are also happy to have our children reciting and all. They will all recite, but they may not be understanding the full potent import of it. As the once the meaning is also being sort of taught to them, and once they understand that and all, the different time of the life, the infant, the adult, the middle age, and senior age, your understanding will grow with your experience, your maturity of the mind, and because then, once you are able to understand, then you will find, because how much, you have been carrying unwanted luggage, so you will be able to give up the luggage. That is what tyaga is, nothing but, you don't take the food and go and live in Himalayas. As you go about it, you give up all the luggages, unwanted thoughts. your own dogmas, your own, sort of idiosyncrasies. You become almost free from, all the conditionalities which has been afflicting you to realize your own potential. You give it up. That is exactly, because it is being talked about. This is same thing happens there. And we'll also talk more about it as it is, because then in that context only it says, from this, the words of clarity, it brings about a clarity into the whole thing. It says the next verse, which has been brought about, as a continuum of what we have seen so far. In this birth itself, you should try to achieve with this body, and this is where you should be able to. You should not be missing the bus. You should try to get the best out of that. The next mantra 2.3.5, four worlds of clarity. That is what it says. The worlds, different worlds. What are all those worlds? These are all the worlds, because we only by mind, will be able to create. But what does this say? It is the evolution of the mind. Four worlds in the sense, mind itself will get into the different dimensions of the worlds. And once you get into, because finally, you are able to get the full clarity, that is the highest we can attain. That's what it says with a sort of simile. It is telling that's what we're going to see. Yata adarshe tata atmani, yata swapne tata pitruloke, यथा आपसु परिव ददर्शे ददृशे तथा गंधर्वलोके छाया तपहो इव ब्रह्मलोके. This is what this it is. It will all assume, it will all appear to be something they are telling scripturally, some lokas they are describing and all. It is not that. They are coming into the innards of it, how we have to grow it. So yata adarshe tada atmani. So when you are fully evolved with this body and all, you will be able to see, as if you will be able to see in the mirror. When a clear mirror, it doesn't have any dust, it doesn't have any sort of a stain on that. Stainless, free, and crystal clear, splendid mirror in which you are able to see yourself. To see yourself, what is required? You need the light. In a dark room, you can't see into the mirror. The light, what is that? That is Bhagavat Prasada. That is what we call, because the self in Advaita, what they call it, self, who lights up every thoughts. Once you attain that, once you don't have any contamination, when you have pure, crystal clear, sattvic thoughts, the rishis and sages who have evolved to the highest, they will have this. You will be able to see yourself crystal clear in the mirror. And the same simile says, yata swapne tata pitruloke. See what happens, because in our case, what happens, once the body goes off, because the idea is, we all become pitrus, and, because then every year, the offering is done, their tarpanas are offered, and, because Varshapdingam is done, because every year, because the day of remembrance is there, they offer, because Pitrulok, you are suffering, you have to be fed, that is the. But it's all not that. The Pitraloka is the one, in which in the soul is supposed to be going there, and so if the soul is assigned a particular sort of, the soul itself, has decided, because of its karmas, it has to take something, it would have taken. But what we are doing is to enable the soul without any hindrance. What is assigned to it, let it attain. That's what we say. But that's what the thought behind, whatever we are doing ritually. Here it says, yata swapne tata pitraloke. Once you are having, because the rebirth, when you, because of this, you have not attained the highest, evolution possible, as it has been said, then, it will all be hazy. As if, the dream, you will be seeing so many things. You will not be remembering. You will not be, you will not even be remembering whether it is a color or a black and white or a cinemascope or IMAX or anything. You will not, you will be seeing, you will be remembering something like that. That's all. Sometimes, you will get persons and all, everything, in very detail. But then, once you get up and all, then you have seen it but you don't remember that. It is like that. So once you are having, always contaminated with unfulfilled thoughts, unfulfilled desires, That's what, because finally you will get into that mode, the clarity will not be there in Pitraloke. Yata apsu pariva tadrshe tata gandharvaloke. Apsu in the sense water. In the water, because if you are seeing water will be wobbling, with the waves and all. Yata apsu pariva, because when you are able to see in the water, as a reflection is seen in the water, in the wavy water, and you will only be, because you will your own image, will appear to be, because not that clear, it will only be wobbling, oscillating. So in the world of Gandharvas, in the sense, because when you are having, because that type of the where you have to enjoy the world, because I should have the cars, I should have, attended the programs. I should be, because always in the midst of gaiety and gala and all those things, because when those things kind of become in the Gandharva look, then also, it is little better, but then, because it's not all that clarity. It's better than the dream, but then, it's not all that clarity. Chaya tapyo iva brahmaloke. When there is a light and darkness, you are able to distinguish between the light and the chaya tapha, between the light and shade, when you are able to distinguish. So in the world of Brahmaloka, Brahmaloka is that is supposed to be the highest attainment anyone can have in this world. For any human being, who can go to that, or any creature, who can finally attain that. There, you will have very clear, like, if it's, during the midday, you will not be able to, blazing sun, you will not be able to see anything so clear. In the morning, early morning dawn, because it will be hazy, because the sun will be rising, because only these rays will be, because the birds will be chirping and flying, you will not be able to see that. And towards, the evening, because when there is the light and it is about to, sun is about to set and the night is about to come, at that point of time, you will be able to see, because as much clarity as possible. Likewise, in Brahmaloka, you will be able to see exactly as it is. Yourself, in the sense, what we call is Swarupa Jnana. In the sense, what is that, because we are, because that it will be available and all, then once you understand that, you will not have any conditionalities. The ego would have already been, because there is no question of ego and all, your real sort of image, your sort of a real reflection is much, much, but that is only possible in Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka, in the sense, when you attain the highest form of all these thoughts, words, and actions, coming to the full sync, and no ego, no moral, no conditionalities, no modes, no moods, and all, then finally it happens. So he says that Brahmaloka is very difficult to attain. It is not that it easier said, this is what it is happening and all. The status of the mind is depending upon the conditionalities you are in and conditionalities you invite, because you have got a sort of a craving for that condition. The condition doesn't come, because your craving is because of your desires. Your desires is because of your thoughts. Your thoughts is because of the perceptions. Why? Because always, you do, even before someone tells you something, if you observe, because very calmly, you always expect the person, what is he likely to, you decide, because even before you see a chair, that's what the psychologists say, and the psychoanalysts, they say, and they say, neurologists and the neuroscientists, they say, because there is always expectation in the mind. You get into the theater and you want to see the chair as well as the screen and all those things. It is already there, because you got it, because in the mind. So, and when you don't find a screen into the theater, and because it is something, of a different kind, let us see, then immediately searches, why it is so, because then you are trying to find, what it is. But it is not a disappointment, but you are little startled at the moment. So likewise, that's why the neuroscientist and psychoanalyst, they say, perception is a controlled hallucination. And what about hallucination then? Hallucination is, because what we call is dementia, because we are, always dreamy about other things, and we are hallucinated. What is hallucination? Is uncontrolled perceptions. Perceptions comes on a string. This is again a paradox. Perception is a controlled hallucination. Hallucination is uncontrolled perceptions. Maybe it's very little difficult, to determine and understand that, and because this is what they have described, and because this is always an expectation. Expectation is there, because the knowledge is always sits in. Because when I want to appreciate someone, who is telling, because the denomination you belong is to the best, then because I belong, that has been told to me, I am because I have been practicing that, then it becomes, I'm happy. But someone says, some other denomination or some other religion, which is much better, in the sense, because because my expectation is always because I am in this, so I would expect this. But when you are able to give it up, when you are able to be free from all these phobias, when you are able to give all conditionalities, when you are able to be because as free as the bird in the sky, it doesn't bother because whether it is going to be here or in this city or that village, or it's going like that. Once you do that, then you will be able to realize the highest potential of the power which is guiding you all through. This doesn't have any sort of a creed, religion, race, or anything like that. It is any being in this world. This is the highest wisdom given by the scriptures for anyone, anywhere in this world. The choice is, you take it or not, it is up to you. It is here. This is exactly it says. You give it up, in the sense, okay, because I have been practicing something. The traffic is there everywhere. Someone is going by scooter, someone is going by car, low priced car, someone is going by luxurious sedan, and someone is going by SUV. And some people are walking. All of us are trying to go in our own way to our destination. But the traffic is, someone is controlling the traffic. So it is dharma is the one which is controlling the entire beings. But you think, I am in this religion, you are going in a car, and I belong to this particular denomination, you are going into your own sort of a confined your own vehicle. And someone who can afford the highest one, he thinks, look, I am be all and all, because it is my religion, and my one day indulge in this world and enjoy, because I don't believe anything, money is the power, and I have got the power. That is the power drives me. Go about it. No, there is no harm about it. You go on doing it. But finally, when you are in the traffic, you will have to follow the traffic. That is exactly. Finally, the dharma, yata yata hi dharmasya glanit bhavati bharata abhyuktanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamya. When the traffic gets here and there, he comes. The divine law of equality will come and play. You will be challan, charged, and penalized. What is that? That is the universal rule, universal being. You are there. That is why exactly the Upanishad brings you, so channelizes you ultimately to the wonderful, because the way how you should be able to elevate yourself, evolve yourself. The opportunity given to you in this demon form with this body. Let's not waste it any longer. Let's go to the full potential and see, because this is an opportunity. Let us use it to the hilt. Let us not waste it. And this is how we will be going through the entire process. This is will be given. And when with this table, the simile of this verse, it has been the degree of clarity that is available right now in this human birth. What we have is sort of there, but it is not there to the extent that we should be getting it. What we deserve it. What is our birthright? That is why, because once you are going, then the clarity varies in order of increasing difficulty to obtain. In the sense, because once you are trying to, because get into sort of a live in this world like any other human being with the wants and the desires and all, your clarity will not be in there. But those who have given up and those who have evolved themselves, they will be able to see as if they are seeing in a clear, because of the dustless, stainless mirror. But we will be able to see only this merged and all, because with all the attendant, because attendant variants, you will be able to see. Like you are seeing the water that said in the water, you will not be able to see clear. To understand and realize your full potential, It says, you better evolve yourself. And it is an opportunity for you. And it is for once you know your full potential, and there is nothing else to be known. Once you have seen this, and the happiness, nothing need to be attained. It is already there very much. There is no sorrow whatsoever. There is no anxiety whatsoever. You are into the world of bliss where nothing matters to you because you are just, it's not something on which you will be holding on. You are just giving up. Once you're giving up, because the flower has to bloom. When it gives up, when all these things comes out and exposes itself in the sunlight and wind, then only it blooms. Likewise, we will have to bloom ourselves by giving up everything, all the luggages, and giving up our ego and fully understanding, and not confined by, because the religion, race, thoughts, creed, and comfort. And finally, you come out of that. That is the highest attainment of humanity that has been emphasized so beautifully in the scriptures. It is, we call it Upanishad and we call it in the part of the Veda, and because this is meant for the entire for humanity, entire world. And if anyone can take it, they can take it. If they don't take it, there is no harm. It is for you. You are only going to be the loser. This is what the Upanishad says, and this is what because the all our masters have said. That's why we are going to see the subsequent mantras. When we are going to further explain why, because the clarity, what we are talking about. What are all the prevents and what are all the sort of things that prevents us? What are all the conditions that prevents us? How to be aware of these conditions? Once you are aware of these conditions, you will be able to do it, much better, and perhaps you will be attaining the highest possible form of happiness for which you come into this world, which is your birthright, and you yourself because going to be such a highest being once you know this is what Upanishad has brought it to us. It is for us it is like a buffet it has given us. It is for us to take. With this I will conclude today's session. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति।